Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, where travelers are one stop away from world destinations. Connections on American Airlines to Chicago or to Dallas-Fort Worth are available daily. Close, convenient, CIRA. More at CIRA.com.
The McLean County Clerk says she doesn't want any bogus ballot integrity claims to scare people away from voting this fall. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day, Friday, August 9th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with McLean County elections. County Clerk Kathy Michaels says she predicts higher voter turnout in November than ever before. Colin Shope reports.
Michaels says, though there's still a long way to go, she sees excitement and determination to vote in the community. However, she says the county is prepared for high voter volume. It's election misinformation that's top of mind.
We instituted something a few elections back where we have social media monitors. But how much can we monitor? We try to get some experts in from colleges and such like that, so that we're stepping that up.
Just earlier this week, the Illinois State Board of Elections put out a statement refuting a viral Facebook post claiming that election judges marked ballots to throw away later, when judges are actually required to initial each ballot. Michael says people with concerns about election integrity should take time to learn more about their local jurisdiction. Or, she says, sign up to be an election judge.
If you have any doubts, you're working with your neighbors who are honest, and that really is an eye-opener for a lot of people. But I'm concerned about news that's going to be spread that people are going to believe and they're going to be afraid to vote. We've got to stop that.
Early voting begins September 26th. You can find more information and how to be an election judge at mcleancountyil.gov. I'm Colin Shope.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth and other Illinois members of Congress are asking the USDA to increase the amount of conservation funds allocated to Illinois. Lawmakers argue that if funding was increased, farmers would be better able to plant cover crops to combat dust storms. A 36-year-old contractor from Michigan is dead after a workplace accident at Caterpillar's Peoria Proving Ground facility in rural Washington. That's west of Bloomington Normal. It happened Wednesday night. OSHA and local authorities are investigating. And the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign has more students who want to live in the dorms this year than it has space for. University Housing is offering returning students $2,000 plus meal plans to move off campus. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. St. Louis-based band 3 Central will headline the Front Street Music Festival this year. It's Jazz Up Front's annual block party and celebration of jazz. 3 Central is Russell and Everett Moore on sax and drums, and Ken Anderson on keys. They describe their style as inspirational smooth jazz, drawing inspiration not just from smooth jazz megastar Kenny G, but deeper cuts like Grover Washington Jr. and George Benson. So what makes their smooth jazz inspirational? Russell Moore tells WGLT's Lauren Warnicki that it comes straight from the heart.
There's grown men have walked up to me and said, man, when you start playing, I start crying. So I know that it is reaching what it should reach.
As it was developing in the 70s, 80s, reaching its peak in the 90s, there was a lot of criticism about musicians who had, like jazz musicians who had quote unquote sold out or something, right? But critics could not disagree that like these cats can play.
Criticism of the genre probably started from some of the purists who said, well, you know, it's not jazz as we knew it when people like John Coltrane and Charlie Parker and those people were coming up. But music evolves, and I just feel that there's enough elements in smooth jazz because you still have the improvisational element, which is the most important part of jazz. That's what allows us to call this genre what it is, smooth jazz, contemporary jazz. But it does bring in another side of music, or all elements of music, R&B, gospel, there's blues. I mean, a lot of the elements in smooth jazz come from a variety of genres. So it's not that old of a genre, really.
Everett, 20 plus years ago, when the band was coming together, radio stations were still playing this music on the regular. That's not as much the case anymore. Although I would say like the yacht rock movement is maybe a kind of cool crossover that's bringing this music back into radio play.
Smooth jazz style, the style of music, has never taken away from the true roots of jazz to me. Ken explained it so well when he talked about the improv, the link that's there. One thing for sure is that style of music allows you not to play it the same every time. So you're introducing it every time it's played. You take an orchestra, they have a set piece of music that they play, oh my God, to the fullest. And it's done at such a high level, but it's done the same because it's written the same. Smooth jazz really locks the spirit of who you are. And, sometimes we don't feel good every day, but I can say just with my buddies, my brothers, that music has a way of lifting a spirit. It has a way of transcending. You cannot speak the language, but you understand the music.
Free Central headlines the Front Street Music Festival with Delta blues band Mississippi Heat next Saturday, August 17th on Front Street in downtown Bloomington. Get WGLT's end of summer Spotify playlist with our favorite smooth jazz, easy listening, and yacht rock hits. That's at WGLT.org. For Daybook on WGLT and WGLT.org, I'm Lauren Warnicki.
Support for arts and culture coverage on WGLT comes from PNC Financial Services. PNC is committed to supporting local arts and culture events in the communities they serve.
And before we let you go, tonight is movie night at Hancock Stadium. It's a free event hosted by ISU Athletics and the Bloomington Normal YMCA. The original Space Jam is on the big screen starting at 6:30. That's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. The show is produced by Rosalie Truback. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.